Welcome to the Fans of Fitness podcast, a voice for fitness, health, and wellness professionals. I am Travis, instructor and director of the National Personal Training Institute of Arizona. Here with me is Josh, our instructor of business and owner of Idea Pro.
All right, Travis, we have a lot to talk about. So what's first on our agenda?
So we are a state licensed vocational school located within the Gym Mesa. What we are is a 220-hour, all-hands-on school. So what we cover is anatomy, physiology, fitness business, program design. We go over, we have certifications with kettlebell, suspension. We also have a certification with PNF stretching. If you don't know what that is, it stands for proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. It's a lot of words to say.
That is.
On top of that, we do about 100 to 110 hours of in the gym practical training to make sure that everybody understands how to move correctly. It's stuff you're not going to find in a book, and I think that's what's missing within the industry is the actual hands-on knowledge. You can read a book as many times as you want. You're just not going to get what you can get out in the gym with proper technique and instruction.
Right. So let's talk about, because you actually attended the school 13 years ago, 14 years ago?
Yeah, so I went through the National Personal Training Institute located in Portland, Oregon about 14 years ago. Kind of on a whim. I wasn't really planning on going through the school. I didn't even know it existed because I thought at the moment that if I wanted to do that, it would require reading a book and then jumping into the industry. At the time, I was working for Coca-Cola as a sales rep.
Cool.
And it's a cool job. It paid the bills, but I wasn't really satisfied with it. So one day, everybody's heard this story. It's gone through the school.
Right.
But I think it's just one of those moments in time that just change your trajectory completely. So I was working out at an LA Fitness in Beaverton, Oregon, if you're familiar with that area. I was just working out. A personal trainer came up behind me as I was doing seated overhead dumbbell presses and spotted me. At the moment, those weights were going up. He comes over, spots me, and I'm just thinking to myself, thanks, man, but I had that. So I set the weights down. I said, thanks. And then the words came out of my mouth. I said, how do you like being a personal trainer? And then at that moment, his eyes lit up and he's like, oh man, hey, I got to get you a name and a number. I'm like, what? And before I knew it, he was walking briskly to the front desk to write down a name and number for me, I guess. So he came back, handed me one of those sticky notes. It had a name on it of Eric and a phone number. And he said, I recently graduated from the National Personal Training Institute of Portland, which is a school, and to which I said, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, it's a school. I just graduated from it. You'd love it. It's hands-on. It's everything I just kind of mentioned a little while ago. And, I gave it some thought. I went home, talked to my wife, and she already knew I wasn't that happy with my job. I didn't really feel that fulfilled in it. So decided to call up that number. I talked to Eric. A few days later, we went down to the studio and took a tour. About 10 minutes later, I looked at my wife, and she's like, if you want to do it, let's do it. At the time, I was 35, and I'm already thinking, am I too old for this? And also at the time, I was getting my bachelor's degree in business management because at the time, I was thinking, let's just get a degree, let's get that over with, and move up the ladder at Coca-Cola. So
35 is not too bad, though.
No, but when you go to a gym and you look at trainers, you see a bunch of young people mostly, especially in your bigger box gyms. That's kind of seems to be the norm. That's a good place to start, and I think that's why you see a lot of people in their younger ages working there as trainers.
Well, I went through the school at 46.
You did. Much
so I was
later
11 years later than you. So I mean,
Yeah.
It's even more like I was like, oh man, I'm the old guy in class. But we've even had students older than that.
Oh yeah. Much older. Yeah, so if you don't know, Josh was a student a few terms ago in one of my classes. And it went from that to where we're at now. So
Right.
Josh can speak to the school as a student. I can too. Mine was 14 years ago, was my experiences was about a year ago. But just getting back real quickly to how this all happened for me. It's, I went through the school. And I couldn't believe, well, first of all, I made a lot of friends. The information I had, I brought home to my wife daily. She was almost like one of my students. She's like, what'd you learn today? So I would tell her, that you're doing this wrong. And there's a lot of, my wife is a workout she loves to work out a lot. So she always wanted to know if there was something she was doing wrong. And I'm like, you've been doing this wrong all along. This is your goal, right? You need to do this, not what you're doing. So there was a lot of that.
Right.
But yeah, it was a great time. Learned a lot. And then I ended up going to 24-hour fitness in Beaverton for about 14 months, just to kind of get my feet wet. I wanted to see what it was about and be in front of as many people as I could possibly be, because I think what's important in the beginning is being in front of a lot of people and learning how to communicate effectively and talking fitness while doing so. So it put me in front of lots of different goals, lots of different cultures. So I had to learn how to communicate with various people. Also needed to learn how to get them to adhere with the plan without, I guess, coming across like a drill sergeant or not giving them enough nurturing. It just depends on the person as to how you have to pivot with the way you deliver information. But from there, I moved over to the studio in Portland, so the school that I came from, and became an independent trainer. And I was there for several years until this opportunity arose. And just from seeing all the successful trainers that came out of the program and knowing that I loved it, my experience was fantastic. I couldn't wait to make this happen, because I wanted other people to experience success and get a great education and help lives of others. So the more successful trainers we have, the more people they can touch in a good way, in an educated way. Knowing what you're talking about is important. Having that confidence doesn't come from reading a book. And again, I'm not hammering on online certifications. You have to start somewhere.
Right.
But if it's something you want to take seriously, start with a great education, a great foundation. So here we are, 14 years later, from being a student to helping others experience what I experienced as a employee of 24-hour fitness, and then a independent owner for over a decade.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about, so did you do 220 hours or was it 440 hours?
The program I went through was 500.
Oh, okay.
So various schools have various length programs. The Portland location was 500 at the time. So my schooling, it was full time. It was 6 months long. Same hours as we have now for our day class, 9:30 to 2:30, Monday through Thursday, and basically parallels the same content that we do now at the Mesa location here. We are 220 hours, and partly because of COVID. Before that, we were 440 hours. It was a little bit more dense with information, but during COVID, we had to pivot a little bit. People wanted to get out in the workforce a little bit sooner. And the other thing is too, it's a big commitment, 440 hours. It's going to be 6-month program. I did see that when I went through the Portland program, there was some stuff that I've never used, some information that I've learned that I've never used one time.
Right.
And I thought to myself, how can we shave down a little bit of information and make this a little more palatable for people that don't want to spend 6 months in a school?
Right.
So that's what we decided to do is cut it in half. We condensed it greatly to do that. But what we think we have in place right now is everything you could possibly need to be successful.
Yeah, 220 hours. I think that was great. The amount of knowledge that we got in that time frame was awesome. I don't know if I could have done 440 or more. That's a long time, especially at my age.
Yeah, it was a long commitment for me. I remember, them saying it's 6 months, and I was like, geez, that's a long time. So, had they had a 220, I might have liked that a little bit more. But who knows? It's hard to say at this point. But the more time you have to practice your craft in a gym before you go out and actually start working with people, the better.
Right. So let's talk about the instructors that we have right now.
Yeah, so the instructors we have right now, me being one of them, I teach anatomy, and I teach We're academic partners with the National Academy of Sports Medicine, so that's part of our curriculum. It's Wednesday mornings, sometimes half of Wednesday, and sometimes the full Wednesday. It just depends on what chapter we're going to look at. And the reason we're partners with them is some gyms require an NCCA accredited certification, so that's going to make sure that they are hireable everywhere they go. So not only do they get a state license diploma that never expires from us and a bunch of certifications, but they could also get out ready to take the NASM exam and have that certification. So again, We're not a certification, we're a diploma. You also are an instructor. So
Yep.
Josh teaches business. So Josh has been kind of his own boss for 35 years?
Very, very long time. Yes.
Owned several companies and still do.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So if you want to talk about that real briefly before we talk about the other instructors, do so.
Yeah, I've been doing software development for 35 years, and owned different companies over the years, parts of different companies, and helped grow companies, and just building websites and software, and not even sure what to really talk about on that because it's been so long and so much stuff, and been behind a computer for so long, and at one time was very, very heavy, and just said, hey, I need to do something else and get out from behind the computer. And so that's the reason why I started, changed my diet and lost weight, and then started working out. And then my wife started working out, and tried to get her to run for years. And she kept telling me she wasn't a runner. Then she met a friend that runs a lot. So she was like, oh, now I'm a runner. I'm like, oh, cool. That's awesome. And so then she decided to do triathlons. So she's got the swimming and the bicycle part down, but the running part she needed help with. And so she said, will you train me how to run? Because I've been running my whole life. Even when I was bigger, I could still run a little ways. So that's when I decided that I was going to do, if I'm a trainer, I trained her how to run. But then I started talking to other people, and they're like, hey, can you train me? I'm like, I'm not a trainer, but I know how to run, and I know how to teach people how to run. So maybe I need to look at becoming a personal trainer. And I'd actually thought about it when I was in college. I thought about going that personal training route because when I was in college, my mom was a professional bodybuilder. And so I was like, hey, I could be a personal trainer. And, just after thinking about it for a while and kind of going, I think I'm going to stay with computers. Been doing computers for a long time, so I'll just stay there. So that's when I found the school and, decided to attend the school and saw that the school needed help on, website and the business side of things a little bit, and, graduated. And then 3 months later, I think about 4 months later, Travis was like, hey, you want to be an instructor of business? Sure. And then it just has evolved from there.
Yeah.
So
business, it crosses all industries. I mean, business is business. This is just more focused on personal training, but it's still all about, incorporating your business and learning how to get referrals and testimonials and everything that a entrepreneur would need to do in really any industry. So I thought it'd be a great fit. This is kind of set up the way it was when I went through the program in Oregon. A lot of the alumni that excelled did great. A few years later, they'd become instructors because they knew the school, they knew the culture, the community, and they're just great fits. So that's what we have in place now. So Josh was a graduate. Next, another instructor that we have, her name is Emily. Emily is now teaching PNF stretching. So for those that don't know what PNF stretching is, I'll put it in layman's terms as much as I can. So it's essentially stretching a contracted muscle to achieve more of a stretch that results with more mobility and flexibility within the body. So it's a fantastic way to make your clients feel exceptional, after a workout or just by itself. So I thought it was important to bring that on, and we did as part of our curriculum on Tuesdays. So Emily is also a graduate. She really caught on with PNF very quickly. and she memorized all the movements very, very well. She explained it well. And then I decided, hey, let's reach out to her, see if it's something she might be interested in. She was, and now she's teaching it. So
that's awesome. She's a little powerhouse.
she is. Yeah.
Great personality too.
Yep. She's awesome.
Yep.
The other one we have is Jennifer. Jennifer teaches nutrition. Jennifer was actually in the very first term here in Arizona that we had. She already had a wealth of knowledge with nutrition when she was going through the course. And she's not just nutrition. She's also, I'm searching for that word.
Yeah, I can't think what it is. I know what you're talking about.
I forget. Anyway, she knows a lot about nutrition. So that position came available. I reached out to her, and she said she'd love to be a part of it. And here she is. She's teaching nutrition now on Tuesdays.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. She was in my very first term, and yeah, it's fun to see her back. She's extremely passionate about the subject, and she delivers the message very well.
Yep.
And it's interactive. It's hard to teach nutrition and have it interactive, where you actually add some movement into it.
Right.
So it's kind of a boring subject for some people, but she's definitely making it exciting. So I'm happy to have her. And then lastly, we have one more instructor. Her name is Kelly. Kelly teaches anatomies at night, and Kelly happens to be a relationship to Josh. Josh, go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, Kelly is my wife. She's the one that I started training to run, and she's a nurse. She loves anatomy. She's always loved anatomy. She liked anatomy when she was like a young kid. I want to say like 6 or 7 years old, and her mom carried her took her to a mortuary and showed her a dead body when she was like 6 or 7, which is, to me, is just kind of messed up.
That's a great age.
Yeah, it's just, and I would have been freaked out, crying in the floor, and never slept again. But Kelly loved it, and she was like, "Oh, this is amazing!" And so she's loved anatomy for a long time. And we have the night class. This term it's Monday and Wednesday night. So she has Monday night anatomy that she teaches, and then next term she actually has off. And I told her, I was like, hey, that's not fair. You get 13 weeks off. You teach for 11, and then you get 13 weeks off.
That's a good vacation.
Because she doesn't teach during the day. So,
right.
But no, she's enjoying teaching anatomy, and she's having a lot of fun with the class and stuff. So it's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're a nurse, you have to know anatomy. So when I heard that she was interested, it's like, that would be awesome.
Yep.
So, yeah, for the first couple of years, actually the first year I had an instructor who was also an alumni of the school, and he taught the whole thing. And then he decided to get a different job, and then I had to teach the whole thing. So for about a year and a half, I was the only instructor for the entire program, and that burnt me out pretty good. It's kind of a long drive for me.
Yeah.
Daily. And teaching is actually, it takes a lot of effort.
It does.
Brain power. And
Yep.
sometimes you don't have one of those days where, you're clicking on all cylinders and you're forgetting some pretty common words. I think
Yep.
if there's any instructors out there that teach, you can probably
you understand that?
yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about the cost of the school, because for me, when I first found the school, I'd found the corporate website, and I was looking at the brochure and all that stuff for the school, and I thought it was 440 hours, I think is what it said. And I was looking at the 440 hours, and it was like $5,900 or something like that. And then I scheduled a tour and met you. And I was actually with my daughter, Emily, which also attended school the same time I did. And, you showed us around the gym, you talked about the school and stuff like that. And then I was like, all right, so what do we need to do to get registered, and, how much is it, and, all that. And so you told us the price of the school, and I was kind of thrown off. I was like, wait, what? And you thought meant that it was too high. And it was half the cost of what I thought it originally was. So for me, I was like, oh, okay. So $2,900 basically for full time.
Yeah. So, so if you go full time, Monday through Thursday, the tuition is $2,849. So just to give you an idea of what that covers, it's going to cover books. There's only one. It's the NASM book. It's going to cover the certifications. It's going to cover your gym membership, and it's going to cover all the hours that you are in class. So I think I mentioned earlier, it's 4 certifications in all, one of them being CPR and AED, which is included. So yeah, that is the full-time program. Part-time program is it's $2,969. So it's only $120 more because we do within the tuition, we cover gym membership. So that is included. But yeah, since then we've made some changes to tuition. The prices are still the same, but we do have we've created a kind of two methods to pay for tuition. So one of them is just paying it off before you graduate, you get your diploma and your certifications. The other way is for those who we're trying to make it more easy for people that may not have the $3,000 required up front or within 3 months of beginning and end of the program. So we've come up with a 6, 12, and 18-month program. So that by itself lowers payments significantly. You still graduate on time. There's just a couple stipulations with that. But yeah, we're just trying to make this accessible to everybody. We know that this is the best way to get into the industry, and we want to make it accessible to all who want to get in the industry. And I think it's a really good decision we made to do that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, like Emily, my daughter that went through the class with me, young, she was 21 at the time, was still living at home at the time. So I think she had a little bit extra money because she was still living at home. But she'd also went through licensed massage therapy school. So she was already a licensed massage therapist, and she had spent the money for that, which was very expensive. So going through this, she was like, oh, I want to do that too. And her final goal, I think, is to be a physical therapist, because now she has the massage therapy, personal trainer, she went through all the nutrition stuff, and now I think she wants to be a physical therapist. So, but I think for her still living at home, the cost of the school wasn't that bad. But I think most people that age have already moved out, at 21 years old, have already moved out of their parents' house. They've got rent, they've got car payment, maybe, insurance and all that kind of stuff. And it makes it a little bit more difficult to pay up front, almost $3,000 to go to school.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's always been, we just want to get the best out there that we can. And we do the best we can to not make it so much of a financial burden to people. To me, when we came down here, it was about education. It was about getting people out there to help the most amount of people possible. Of course, we're a business, and we have to pay the bills. But at the same time, for us, it's about putting the best out there so we can help more people.
Let's talk about a little bit about what class looks like. I mean, because I think that's the other thing that, I had one student ask me, I think it was on a tour or something. They're like, how strict is class? How, because, you got high school where you can't chew gum, you can't get it from your seat because, if you got to go to the bathroom, you got to raise your hand and, and then you go to college and it's totally different.
I think laid back is the word. Yeah, we want it to be fun, a fun learning experience.
Right.
There's nothing sterile about what we do. We have a lot of fun while learning.
So let's talk about the referrals of the school.
Okay.
So there's a referral program.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
We've had one in place, but yeah, we've got a new one. So yeah, to help, one of the things with any business is awareness. And to get awareness, oftentimes you just have to flush money down the drain,
Right.
which is what a lot of people do when they get on to, like Google ads or Facebook ads. It's trial and error, and oftentimes that error is costly. So we just decided instead of paying, Google ads and Facebook for marketing, that we would just reward our students and graduates. So I feel better doing that than just, saying, here, Google, here's some more money. help. Instead,
Right.
what we decided to do is start of this term for a referral program. It's $500 for anybody who refers somebody to our program, and we feel like that's a better use, a better allocation of money, because we know we're doing something right, and students seem to love what we're doing, and
Well, especially for, a student that's just graduated, they can get 500 per student that they refer. That's $500 they can use toward building their personal training business, so that's a lot of money.
yeah,
So-
yeah. I wish I had that when I was in. I sent like 5 people to the
Wow.
Portland location. Yeah, I'm like, hey, you're thinking about being a personal trainer? Wait, go check this place out first before you decide to buy a book.
Right.
And I sent actually one of my clients. She went through the program like
That's
6
awesome.
months after I graduated and was working at 24. She was one of my clients and was going through a workout one day, and she's like, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this too." And I'm like, "Okay, here's a name and a number," just like it started with me. I
Wow.
did the same thing. So yeah, she went through, and it was kind of funny as I was next door as an independent later on, her coming in while she was going through school, and then eventually coming in as an independent trainer herself. So it was really cool to see.
One of the things we also do is we do professional headshots for the students in the class. The students seem to love that a lot. We did it the first time in my term.
Yeah.
I brought in all the equipment and took some headshots, and our term was so big, and it didn't seem like people enjoyed it as much. But the January term this year was probably that term enjoyed it the most, because we had a couple of students in there that didn't want their photo taken.
Yeah.
They were like, no, I don't like my photo taken. And then we took the photo and they're like, oh, wait, this looks really, really good.
There's a couple other things that we've implemented that I'd wanted to do from the very beginning that's actual reality now within the website. If you want to talk about that.
Yeah, they're the personal training profiles. And we're going to be doing a lot more with that. But we did get a page up for all the students get their own personal page that has what they focus on, their bio and some photos and stuff like that, and then a contact form on there. So people can go on the website, click on personal trainers, and kind of scroll down through all the personal trainers that are on there. And eventually we'll build it to where it's more with filters on, male and female personal trainers will be one of the filters. If they focus on male or female, what the age range that they focus on, maybe if they have a specialty like diabetes or heart condition that they focus, So we'll be building in filters and a map feature that kind of, because you don't want to hire a personal trainer that's in Tempe and you live in North Scottsdale, right? So it'll have kind of a location where that personal trainer works in, that area they work in. So there's going to be more to it, but right now they get a page that they can link their social media. If they have their own website, they can link that. So it's been building as we've gone on, and some
Right.
people are like hesitant about putting their information on there because they're like, I'm not sure, and then they do it and they're like, oh, this is kind of cool, So that's I think that they're enjoying it more and more, and as more get on there, it's just going to build better and better. So
Right. Yeah, I mean, on top of us providing a much better education than, what the standard is, we want all of our graduates to succeed. And that's a big reason why we're here today, is we want to give them a voice. We want them to get that awareness of their brand. If they're independent trainers, we want them to get work. But the biggest part, the hardest part in the beginning is, where do we find our clients? Where do we
Right.
find those people that need help? And a lot of times it's just social media. It's just trial and error through social media. It's, like an entrepreneur, it's doing Google ads, Facebook
Right.
ads, throwing money out there and hoping it sticks. Well, we don't want our graduates to spend a lot of money to be successful. We want to try to help them be successful from the get-go. And that's part of the personal trainer profile or the landing page that we've created for them,
Right.
along with the headshots, professional headshots. We're a source for, if anybody's looking for a trainer, they can come to our website and they can just look at personal trainers profiles, drop down and look at, what they're about, what they're the type of clients that they work with, their niche.
Right.
You know, and on top of that, there's a contact me page on there, or contact me link. So if somebody wants to reach out to one of our graduates, they can do it that way. But it's, you know, for a lot of people to get out, all they have is social media. They don't have like a landing page.
Right.
That's a big thing. Landing page is huge. Any social media link that you do, you can have your landing page linked to it so people can get even more information, because we don't live in the age of like 5-minute video clips anymore. It's,
Right.
you know, 15, 30 second, you know, like Facebook video or Instagram video. And at the bottom, you know, link in my bio, here's my landing page. And now they can get more information from you. And there's a contact link.
Right.
So yeah, we want everybody to be on that, and we want to make sure people know that. So it's awareness for everybody listening too, is if you are looking for a personal trainer, we have good ones.
Right. For sure.
If they've gone through our school, you've got a good resource there. So yeah, if you're looking for help, click on that link on our website, mptiarizona.com, and find somebody to help you. So that is what the National Personal Training Institute of Arizona is. We do have 4 terms a year. We've got a January term, an April term, a July term, and an October term. It's always the first Monday of that month is when the first day of school is, unless it lands on a holiday like the last couple have, in which case we start a day or two later. So if you want more information, go to mptiarizona.com. We have just about every answer that you could ask for on there. And yeah, if you want to schedule a tour, there's a contact button. If you just want to ask questions, there's a button for that as well.
So that's a wrap of the first episode of the Fans of Fitness podcast. Please consider subscribing. If you're just listening, you can also find the full video of our show on YouTube. Thank you, Travis.
Thank you.
See you guys next time. Thanks.
See you guys.